All right, guys, welcome back to TNT Creations. This will be part 2 on the 1976 dent side. Last time we really didn't get to a couple things on checking over the motors, doing compression check, checking timing, a couple little things. So we're going to do that in this video. Got a couple things tidy up with the body lift. They extended the steering and the clutch, so we got to take those apart, maybe look at cutting them down and doing a couple little things. So just stay tuned. Okay, starting off again, guys, we're going to be just doing kind of a wellness check on the motor here. This is a big block 460, is not original. It's the Highboys. They would have came with a 390, 360, a Y block, but this has been swapped in here. Don't know much about it, was in the truck. Seems to run okay, but we really just want to get to know it a little bit better. A compression test is a really good way to get to know that. Want to make sure all your cylinders are close to one another, and just it's going to tell you whether or not the engine's wore out, or if it's someone's kind of freshened it up, or whatever the case may be. Starting out right off the bat, we did throw the new Edelbrock on there. It had this old Holly on it, but it was leaking fuel, wasn't really doing that good, so we just decided to go on ahead and throw my new Edelbrock on here just as a starter. So first things first, we're going to go through here, take all the spark plugs out, get all the wires off of it, and we'll start doing the compression test. Spark plugs are out, and boy howdy, some of these are nice and white, not very rich. But get the old compression test running here, and we'll see what we find out. After going through all the cylinders and everything, it was pretty consistent at about 130. We had a couple 135, we had a 120, but for it being an older motor, I'm guessing nobody's really messed with it, or if they have, it was a little while ago. So I'd say that's pretty good, enough to get it running and get it running good. So we have absolutely no idea where the timing is on this thing. So right now we're going to come over here to cylinder number 1. We're going to do our best to find TDC, re-drop the distributor in, and maybe look at putting some new used spark plugs in, some new wires, and seeing if we can't get it running a little better. Okay guys, well, we were getting ready to pull the distributor and we ran into a little bit of a problem. The distributor was seized in the block. Could not turn it, could not pull it, anything. We got some pry bars on it, was pulling up on it a little bit, couldn't get it going. So we sprayed her down with PB. We ended up being able to fit the channel locks in there, and she will rotate back and forth just ever so slightly. So now we're just in here taking a hammer, getting her to turn back and forth. We're going to keep working her back and forth, hopefully able to get it up and out of there, so that way we can actually go through and set the timing right in this thing. I have got to be 110% honest with you guys. I have had 2 seized distributors before, and I have not gotten them out. I have broken the distributors trying to get them out. But this one must have been the lucky one, because it came out of there, took some force, some PB, and some vice grips, but it ended up coming out. The problem that happens here is the distributor sits down in the motor just like this. Right here around this ridge where this O-ring is. It rusts right to the inside of the block. It'll also do it right here. But it came out. We're working on cleaning it up. I'm not going to mess with this O-ring because it wasn't leaking, probably because it was rusted in place. But we're not going to mess with that. We ended up getting the hex rod out, the oiler. For those of you who don't know, this rod sits right in the bottom of that distributor. And right down here, that runs your oil pump. It's all ran right off the cam gear right here. So if you're doing a Ford, you need to make sure you can take the distributor out and leave the oiling rod in, but when you go to put it back together, you better make sure that this rod is seated in there correctly and that it all goes right back in just fine. So we're going to work on getting this distributor cleaned up a little bit better, putting it down with the motor, finding TDC, then we're going to set the timing. Hopefully this thing will run and run a heck of a lot better. We're going to find TDC by just doing it kind of with our finger here. Tucker's going to go down there and he's going to twirl on the crank. I'm going to have my finger over the hole. And when I start to feel some compression coming out of the spark plug hole, that's when I know that we're coming up on the compression stroke. So I'm just going to hold my finger here and you can tell. Oh, did you hear that? It's starting to come up there on compression stroke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my finger out and I'm going to stick this screwdriver in there. Don't go jamming it in there or anything like that. Just kind of loosely hold it in there. And Tucker's going to keep going and you're going to start to feel that cylinder come up. Okay, it's starting to come up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have him go past it just a little bit. Okay, it started going back down, so now he's going to reverse it. We're going to go back the other way. And really what you're looking for is when this piston starts to come up on its compression stroke, when it starts to come up, it's going to hang there for a minute. Go on ahead and go the other way, Tucker. It's going to hang there for just a second and then go back down. I want to find it right there where it hangs right before it goes back down. So piston's coming up, going to have them go nice and slow. Okay, coming up, coming up. Okay, it's hanging there for just a second. Go a bump more. Okay. Well, go just a bump more. Okay, right there, I could slightly feel it move down just a touch. And so that's what we're going to call our TDC. It's not perfect, you know, but it's going to get it close enough to where we can get this thing to run. If you really are concerned that, you know, you're not so sure if you're not doing this right or it's your first time, go on ahead and pop that valve cover off. You'll be able to watch your valves. You'll be able to see an intake opening, exhaust closing, all that good stuff. But this right here, this will get us going. Been a minute. Been a little while. The old girl here, last time you guys seen us, threw a carburetor on, new distributor, had that stuck distributor that did come out, but she has got some vacuum leaks that are a big problem. Couldn't get her running right, couldn't get the carb tune set, just too many vacuum leaks, too many places. So we're just gonna go on ahead and do a little bit of maintenance today. Kind of take you through just little bits and pieces of what we're going to be doing. Last time you guys seen, we put this new Edelbrock on here and a new distributor. That all came off my 77. So we're going to take those brand new parts back off you know. So we're gonna take the brand new parts off. Had a 750 Demon that was originally on it, a bit too big for what this thing needs, but we're gonna clean it up, go through the process of cleaning it all up. We're gonna put it back on, try to address some of the vacuum leaks that we did find throughout the vehicle, and we may need to take the intake off, redo the intake gaskets and the silicone, because got a feeling that that's where one of our majority leaks are. The truck has never ran quite right, and this is what we're finding out why. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go into the shed here. We're going to do just a basic carb rebuild kit on it. We'll take you guys through a little time lapse of that. Carb rebuild kit is done. Took forever. If you didn't watch it, don't blame you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take off the perfectly good carburetor that wasn't causing any problems whatsoever. Put on the rebuilt one that may cause a problem, hopefully not. And just look for some vacuum leaks. We found one major one on the intake. Just one of those nipples, screw-in nipple that had looked like maybe some stuff for the AC or something like that at one point in time, but now it doesn't have AC. So just give it a real good look over again, see if we can't find any more vacuum leaks, get it started, and then go through with a can of ether, see if we can find any more. We do have a feeling we're going to be changing some intake gaskets, but we're going to give her the benefit of the doubt and see if we don't have to. We're also going to change out the spark plugs, because you guys seen them. They weren't the greatest, they weren't horrible, but just going ahead, since we're in here and messing around as much as we are, we might as well just get them changed out. So first things first, we'll start getting this carburetor off, all these vacuum lines, and look at getting it unbolted. While Tucker's doing that, I may just go on ahead and start changing out spark plugs, just because there's no need for two of us to be doing that. So you got a spark plug socket already?
I got it all out.
You got a wrench? Like 2 ratchets?
Nope. For me.
Okay. Spark plug socket.
I brought out the long and shorts.
I got a short already.
Okay, don't mix it. I don't care.
What's the gap supposed to be on these?
Yeah.
Gap your spark plugs. Unlike Tucker here, I like to throw a little anti-seize on my plugs. So that way, in case a guy gets a little lazy or something like that and doesn't change his plugs out for quite a little while, they'll still come out really nice. And doing any sort of aluminum heads or something like that, really make sure you put a little bit of anti-seize on there. So that way, you know, they don't corrode in there, corrode in place, or give you any problems.
Action.
Old carburetor's back on. We're gonna try and see if we can't get her to run, and see if we can't set vacuum, and hopefully we have no intake leak. So yeah, we're just gonna see if we can get her fired up here. I'm not gonna give it any fuel bad. I'm just gonna let it go, see what it does. Yep. Yep, I did. Go ahead. Seen there, we had to put a little nipple on the inside of it, on the side of that metering block, hoping that maybe we could pull some vacuum, but we're gonna take that metering block off, drill a hole, do all that business. It seems like we were actually able to do a little bit with the fuel idle mixture screws, which before we weren't, because there was just way too big of a vacuum leak. So seems like we are heading in the right direction. The floats need to be adjusted. Seemed like all we did was just run out of fuel. So we'll get those floats adjusted a little bit and keep on trucking. Maybe we can get her tuned in just a little bit better, so that way she'll keep running. Right now it just seems like we're having a heck of a time getting this thing to actually run right. Something weird still a little bit going on. You can't really hear this motor change in idle tone like you're supposed to whenever you're changing the idle set screws on one of these things. I mean, you should pretty well turn one of these screws to where it dies. I mean, it did right there, but so he's gonna fire it up again, and we're just gonna try to tune on it a little bit more. Listen in, I'm gonna spray on this, right here on this side of this intake gasket, hoping you can hear it. Well, I think in general, we got the truck running good enough that if you really wanted to, I think you could drive it down the road. Now, we were spraying this brake clean in there earlier, and we thought we seen some fizzling in between the intake gasket and the head. And we weren't 100% sure, so we were trying to get the thing running good enough and keep it hot enough so that way this thing would really tell us whether it had a problem or not. And sure enough, getting it hot reared its head. So we know we're gonna need some intake gaskets. It seems as though the carburetor is functioning just fine, doing what it's supposed to. So next time you guys will see us, I think it'll be changing on some intake gaskets and doing a little bit more maintenance.
Well guys, got the intake off, and I was taking the old gaskets off and decided to check my push rods, and some of them are bent. You can see how it's got a little bit of a wobble there to it. That's bent. And there's a couple others that are bent, and it looks like it's had a different cam put in it, because you can see the front cover, it's got silicone on it, and the intake gaskets and everything all had silicone on it, so it'd been apart before. And my theory is that they put a bigger cam in here and then just went ahead and used stock length push rods and bent them. So now I'm gonna have to decide if I would just want to get the right push rods and replace them, or just go ahead and rebuild the motor and build it up a little bit. But either way, that's probably about it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and just clean it up a little and then throw the intake back on, and she'll probably sit for a while. I'll probably end up rebuilding it. But that's about it for today.
Carb rebuild. Faulty intake gaskets.
Bent push rods.
For what? Nothing. Bent push rods. And the best part is, we didn't build the motor, so we don't know what the cam is. So this is going to be the end of the video. This is all the work we're going to get done to this old girl for right now, because we need to order parts. We need to disassemble the whole front of this motor, get that cam out, figure out what it is, and maybe do a little investigating a little more. Maybe we can find out, is this thing bored over? Is it stock? All of those kind of things. But for right now, we're gonna call it a day on the Highboy. The next time you guys see us be tearing apart the front of this motor, diving in a little deeper to see if we can get this thing back on the road.